the Interior Ministry reported on Thursday that flood levels in 7 provinces in Upper Thailand were either stable or decreasing. Treasury Thai Saranakul, secretary to the Interior Minister, said that the affected provinces included Chiang Rai, Lampang, Nan, Pheu, Phetchabun and Phrae in the north, as well as Udon Thani in the northeast. Officials were evacuating flood victims, distributing essential supplies and assessing damage. According to Ms. Treasury, 12,777 families in 541 villages were affected by flooding. Nan Governor Chainarong Wangyai reported that floodwaters in central districts were rising at a slower pace as rain ceased, and water levels were declining in upper districts. 10 districts in Nan were still heavily inundated. In Milang District, the Nan River reached a depth of 8.25 meters, just 25 centimeters below the district's embankment. The governor urged residents living near waterways to move valuables to higher ground and prepare for evacuation, as deluges from northern areas were approaching. The Office of National Water Resources, ONWR, warned of possible flooding and landslides in 35 provinces across all regions until August 30 due to heavy rains. The Meteorological Department warned people in northern and northeastern provinces to be cautious of heavy to very heavy rains from August 21 to 27, which may lead to flash floods and overflow, particularly along foothills, near waterways, and in low-lying areas. All ships in the Andaman Sea and the Gulf should proceed with caution in thundershower areas during this period. The Pheu Thai Party's flagship digital wallet handout policy is expected to proceed, with funds to be distributed in cash to vulnerable people first via the welfare card, according to a source. The scheme, which aims to distribute 10,000 baht via a digital wallet to around 50 million eligible Thais, hangs in the balance following the dismissal of Sretha Thavisin as Prime Minister by order of the Constitutional Court. Instead, the scheme's conditions will be revised to target the registered vulnerable under a budget of 122 billion baht. According to the source, the handout can be distributed in cash via the welfare card, which was initiated during the Prayut government. Earlier, caretaker Deputy Finance Minister Julapun Amornvivat said there is still a viable solution for the government's digital wallet project, but all procedures must be completed before an official announcement can be made. Caretaker Deputy Prime Minister Phumtham Wechayachai assured the party would fulfill its election campaign promise, though the scheme might be adjusted to ensure its suitability. He added the details of the scheme, which is aimed at stimulating the economy, would be clarified once the new cabinet is sworn in and the government declares its policy priorities to Parliament. Newly elected Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra also recently said the government would not abandon its flagship handout but would study and consider additional options to ensure the scheme is fiscally responsible. People's Party Deputy Leader Surakanya Tansikal on Wednesday called on Ms. Paetongtarn to clarify the digital wallet scheme when addressing Parliament to end the confusion. She mentioned that targeting vulnerable people and providing handouts in cash had been recommended, so it would not be surprising if the government chooses this option. Ms. Surakanya said that the funding for the scheme could be drawn from the 2024 fiscal year budget, as the supplementary bill seeking to increase the budget for the current fiscal year by 122 billion baht to partially fund the government's digital wallet handout scheme had already passed Parliament. Meanwhile, all coalition partners, including the Palang Pracharat Party, PPRP, have submitted their lists of ministerial candidates, and the next step is to conduct thorough background checks, according to the PM's Secretary General Pramin Lertsaridage. He said public independent bodies would be asked to assist the Cabinet Secretariat in verifying the qualifications of candidates for cabinet positions. The lists will also be forwarded to the Royal Thai Police and the Securities and Exchange Commission, while the Council of State, the government's legal advisor, will be consulted if any questions arise, he said. Following Sretha Thavisin's dismissal, thorough background checks are anticipated to ensure candidates meet the requirements and avoid any legal issues that could trouble the new government. No one wants a repeat of what happened to Mr. Sretha, who was booted out after appointing someone with a criminal record to the cabinet. The candidates will be screened to ensure they do not hold shares in companies or assets that would conflict with legal or ethical requirements for holding a government position, or have past criminal records, Dr. Pramin said. the government will likely form a panel to directly handle the problem of cheap Chinese-made products flooding Thailand's online and traditional markets, caretaker Commerce Minister Phumtham Wechayachai said on Wednesday. While the panel will likely become the main body responsible for monitoring and taking action against the influx of cheap Chinese goods thought to be badly hurting local traders, the government aims to decide what measures to take by the end of this month, he said. At present, the problem is being handled by various organizations, including the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, Ministry of Digital Economy and Society, Ministry of Industry, the Office of the Consumer Protection Board and the Department of Special Investigation, said Mr. Phumtham. If necessary, World Trade Organization, WTO, regulations such as the Anti-Dumping Agreement will be applied strictly in the fight to contain dumping, he said. Other international trade regulations will also be applied to ensure all imported products are of good enough quality, and that their manufacturers or traders fully abide by them and Thai laws, he said. A meeting is due to be held soon to allow small and medium-sized enterprises to talk about problems they are encountering as a result of the influx of cheap Chinese products, he said. Some preliminary talks have already been held with the Chinese ambassador to Thailand and the Chinese commercial attaché on the negative impact of Chinese e-commerce platforms, particularly China's e-marketplace platform Temu, on many Thai business operators, he said. The Chinese diplomats have promised to coordinate further talks between Thai authorities and the operators of these Chinese online trade platforms, said the minister. Temu should be registered and regulated properly in Thailand, which the Chinese ambassador appeared to understand and agreed to first conduct talks with the Chinese operator of Temu, he said. Meanwhile, the Central Investigation Bureau, CIB, has raided 2 warehouses in Bangkok and Samut Sakhon and found a large amount of illegally imported cosmetic products and contact lenses worth millions of baht. CIB officers on Wednesday arrested a Chinese woman named Ms. Duan, surname withheld, at a warehouse in the sub-district of Klong Song Tun Nun of Bangkok's Lat Krabang district and seized a total of 3,858 illegal cosmetic products worth about 52,000 baht. The products included nail varnish and lipsticks made by various foreign brands. Ms. Duan has been charged with selling unregistered cosmetics. Meanwhile, the CIB's Economic Crime Suppression Division arrested another woman identified as Nabo Kemu, 29, for involvement in the sale.